Growing up, I was only vaguely aware of my father's working life and his career as a writer, and he was hugely productive. His career started years before I was born, and over 4 decades, he literally entertained millions.
When Jim Lawrence conceptualized this whole idea, to be honest, sometimes I think about the types of things that, comments that he's gotten, but I feel like he stepped forward and stepped out where if it was me or my uncle or my brother or my dad or any relative of mine or somebody with my complexion would not have been able to do, I think Jim Lawrence did what was necessary to tell a story about black people and black culture and put a positive spin where most of the times there wasn't. I actually call them the abolitionist movement in comics, because even like the earlier comic writers that were not black, they took that chance, and sometimes they took heat for it, but they actually wrote some of the most beautiful stories about us. When you teach an art appreciation and you're talking about the old masters and you're talking about this, that, and the third, what's left out is black artists, and then what's also left out is black stories. And I think Friday Foster being the first black character to be syndicated in the national newspaper is significant, not just for comics, but also for art appreciation.
There's a magazine interview that was done shortly after this strip started in 1970. And in his own words, he talks about his motivation for doing this. He said 2 years ago, we picked up a copy of the Newark Evening News and turned to the funnies page. I was running my eye down the page, he said, and I suddenly said to myself, God, here's a page full of nothing but white faces, and Newark's a town that's well over half black. It struck me as very wrong. And says Lawrence decided to do something about it.
Hey y'all, it's me, Alicia Renee, host and executive producer of the award-winning travel show, Getaway for a Day with Alicia Renee. Now some of you might be wondering why I decided to do a documentary on a comic strip, but once you hear this quick story, you'll understand why. So a few years ago at a previous job, I was speaking with this very nice gentleman by the name of Jim Lawrence, and we were just reminiscing about things we loved to do when we were kids. So I say to him, I used to love to read the newspaper, especially the lifestyle and the funnies section, aka the comic strips. So then James is looking like, for real? What? Then he goes, you know, my dad used to write comic strips. And I'm sitting there like, what? And then he says he also wrote the first nationally syndicated African American comic strip in the United States, Friday Foster, which, by the way, was turned into a movie starring Pam Grier. At this moment, my mind is like, I'm sitting here thinking, what the heck is going on? I need to know more. And that's how we ended up here. My very first mini documentary on the making of the Friday Foster comic strip. So take a look at this next clip and you'll see a little bit of how I envisioned the documentary on screen. And I hope you'll come back and watch.
Mm-hmm.